Hi, Mary.
Hi, David.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I really want to appreciate your joining my group on LinkedIn, Mary. And I love how you affirmed nature listening in your introduction. Welcome, Mary.
It feels
Hello.
good to be here.
And who just joined us?
Hello. My name's Rainey. This is my husband, Zephyr.
Hi.
Hi, Rainey and Zephyr. Mary's here. And, well, very good. In a couple of minutes, we'll start the meeting. Mary's in New York, I believe. All right, Mary.
Yes, Western New York.
Rainey, Zephyr here in our area, Eugene.
Yes, we're in Springfield, Oregon.
Right next door. Really would it be Eugene, Springfield, yeah,
Mhm.
Lane County.
Yeah.
So in a couple of minutes we'll start this informal Facebook group has been going for a few years. Hi, Eric. I see Eric has just joined us. Hello. Where are you based, Eric? I love it. You keep rising up with love. That's great. So, Deborah, would you light a Joss? My wonderful and amazing partner, Deborah. Deborah, light our Joss in the UU tradition. And people do not need to be UU. Need to light it. Well, we'll need to use our imagination because can you show them the candle closely by the camera? We handmade this and so it affirms equal access, the National Disability Network by the youth. Thank you, Deborah.
You're welcome.
I'll just mention two principles, UU principles I especially love. Number 4, free, responsible search for truth and meaning, because each of us can do that search in our own way. And also, I love number 5 on our, which is the right of conscience and the use of the democratic process in our congregations and in society at large. So with that, we'll light our candle. Welcome. what I think has happened over this year is that these are like a introduction, because we have a bunch of really interested folks like Sandy and two ministers, Reverend Philip Schulman from Texas and Reverend Barbara Myers from California. So we have a bunch of interested folks, but what has happened is that these monthly Zooms are like an introduction. So why do we affirm that and do an introduction? I am David Oakes, and I welcome folks new to mental health justice, but I've been doing this work for 42 years.
Do you need to repeat it?
Yeah, I
Everybody
should
hear you?
that we can ask folks
Sure.
about that.
David's voice is rather soft from the damage from the accident. If you need me to repeat what David is saying, let him know and I'll come back in, okay? Some folks, if they have hearing issues.
Yeah,
Okay.
can everyone understand me?
Can everyone understand David?
Mhm.
Yes.
Right.
If you have any difficulty, Deborah's whittling around.
Just yell, man.
Yeah. So I'm David Oakes, and I've done this work for 42 years, and then 10 years. I almost thought I got a lucky break, but it was not lucky. I broke my neck exactly 10 years ago, December 1. So I'm almost at my 10-year anniversary, and it is definitely a tragedy, but there are silver linings, and one of them is that I very much support bridge building between many points of view. Whether you reject psych labels or embrace them, either way, or like I do, mix them match. You know, some labels I reject and some I accept. You're very welcome. And when we go around and we're a small group, let's introduce ourselves, you lovely folks. It'd be great to, it really warms my heart. Who would like to go first?
I never go first.
Neither do I. No.
I,
Self-conscious.
I'll go.
thank you, Mary.
First of all, I have a question. What does UU stand for?
Ah, wonderful. You stand for Unitarian Universalists. There are about 1,000 churches, even though it's one of the very early U.S. Christian churches, and now affirms any point of view, responsible point of view. There are Buddhists, atheists involved, very supportive of social justice activism. So That's a superb question. What is UU? Would anyone else like to give an elevator talk about it?
I don't have a whole lot, I guess I could throw in there, but I've been going to UU churches for a couple of years. And it's a really remarkable progressive crowd who are really sincere about wanting to make things better and embracing the diversity of everyone who's there. So when we moved to Springfield, I didn't have to wonder that I knew where the UU church was and I just went right over there because these people state their belief and they live by it. It's pretty nice.
Eric, are you part of a UU church?
Yeah. Yes. I'm a member of the West Seattle Unitarian Universalist Church here in Seattle, Washington. Yes, I am. It's wonderful. I love them. You know, they're so affirming and they're non-judgmental, and you come as you are. We're glad you're here. And I think that's wonderful. We're searching for a called minister right now. We've kind of in between. The last one retired, but lots going on right now. You know, we're looking at Article 2 or some other stuff. Yeah, lots going on in the UU.
And Mary, let me repeat, folks are very welcome on our group and Zooms, whether or not they're involved with UU. UU folks helped launch this independent network. And my own spirituality has been pagan, but when I fell, I realized I need community. And silver lining, the church is only a few blocks from here. Wonderful church in Newton that recycled an old big building as we will church us along. And now a pagan group is actually starting. So we are not going to push any religion. Okay, Mary? Any other questions?
No, but I have a comment.
And also, please introduce yourself.
My name is Mary Dahl, and born and raised and still live in Western New York. And actually, I was hoping that UU stood for Universal Unitarian or Unitarian Universalist, because my father was a member of the UU church. But I never knew anything about it because my mother was Catholic, and my siblings and I were raised Catholic, went through Catholic school, and I never knew anything about the Unitarian faith. And then, but my father was the most influential person in my life spiritually. And he passed away very, very suddenly in his sleep, a month before I graduated from high school. So I never got to have that conversation with him. So I think it's really wonderfully ironic that I'm sitting here today with you all. And I'm sitting here on the mental health angle because I was labeled bipolar after a psychotic episode in 1998. And then I was labeled bipolar disorder. And then in 2016, I had another lesser psychotic episode, but I was still hospitalized. And while I was in the hospital at that time, I heard a voice inside my head say to me, bipolar disorder, that's only a word. It's only a term. It's not who you are. So I didn't tell anybody in the hospital, of course, that I heard that voice. But after I got out, I began to connect with people in the mental health world who saw not a disease or a pathology, but who saw people that were diagnosed as having different experiences. So, and that is the angle that I'm coming here tonight with you all. And I'm writing a book now called I Beg Your Pardon, but I'm not the least bit disordered. And I'm very, very happy and excited to be connecting with other people who are taking different approaches to mental health. So that's me.
Wonderful.
I had a very similar experience to yours, Mary. A few years ago, I had a psychotic episode that, that's what it looks like to everybody around you, but internally it's very different. And I consider that to have been more of a spiritual awakening kind of thing. And I'm still going through that process. And so I understand having to deal with people who label you as bipolar or whatever. And you're like, I don't feel crazy. I see things differently than everybody else.
That's great, Rainey. Thank you for sharing that.
Did you want to say anything more as an intro, Randy?
Yeah, well, like my husband said, we moved to Springfield back in April, and I'm not getting as involved in the church as he is, mostly because I have past negative experiences with other kinds of churches, and so I have some trepidation about large church groups. It doesn't have anything to do with the UU group itself. They're really great people. It's my past experiences, but I'm slowly kind of exposing myself to smaller groups and getting more comfortable and doing more things over there. So I am enjoying getting more involved.
Great. Zephyr, did you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Zephyr Burton. My wife and I have been, I guess, dealing with various kinds of mental health issues here at the house between her and our kids. And so I think pretty much everyone here takes some kind of mental health pill or drug or something. And having to deal with insurance, having to deal with trying to find mental health resources has been a nightmare in Texas, and it's been a nightmare here. It just seems crazy, and I don't understand why there's not more work being done to give more access for this kind of treatment, when it's clear that everyone in the country seems to need it. That's all I have.
Everyone in the world at this point.
I think so.
Yes, welcome. And all the way from Seattle. I wonder if Eric's there. Needed to take a break. By the way, I love both of you used quote marks about your label. The last few years, more and more people are coming out as depressed or on the spectrum of neurodiversity. I heard the term neurominority. So I think we're a majority. Maybe truly universal. So yeah, we're very much like Philip, Reverend Philip, one of my best friends who helped start this. He's a UU minister in Texas, and 5 years ago he had an extreme head injury. A half-ton truck hit him on a bicycle,
Mm.
and extreme head injury. He's recovered a lot. In fact, he calls it a spiritual gift. So now, in a way, it's way beyond argument. I mean, I was labeled psychotic, like Mary and Randy, bipolar, psychotic, and you do not hear that much. People coming out of our closet. By the way, this is recorded, but no way we'd use it without your permission. And if you would rather, in fact, I can even turn it off. Would anyone like that?
I'm fine.
I'm okay.
I'm okay.
Okay. Well, yeah, the diagnosis psychotic or could seriously mentally ill is a phrase they use. It's extreme. When I started in this work, in my 20s, I thought we'd be like all the other movements that were starting then. Environmental women, gay, lesbian, all these movements, but little did I know then that 42 years later, hardly anybody knows. There's been thousands of us all over the world in this social change movement. I mean, like say BIPOC or labor or women, May and D.P. Baker, we know about them. We've connected more and more with the disability movement, which is one of the largest social justice movements in the world. But it's difficult because there's a huge diversity of opinion. Like there are many people who absolutely reject anything that comes near a label. And that say no way I would have mad pride or no way I'd be part of the disability movement. And then there are many people who use their diagnosis or take psych drugs. And we need to really get out that everyone is welcome. Who supports human rights. Everybody. And that's difficult. In fact, in my 40-ish years, we've had some challenges even naming ourselves. What's generally used in the US by our leaders is mental health consumers and psychiatric survivors, or C/S as the simplest one, C/S. And like I announced for this little gathering, I am in both. I identify. In fact, my psychotherapist for the last 10 years goes to our church, Dr. Bundy, 100% blind. And he's my psychotherapist. And for undeniable PTSD, no need for good works. There, after I fell, I had extreme nightmares for months. It's really overwhelming. About 5 years ago, I went through that again. Any living being can get overwhelmed. And if you're isolated, you do not have the resources, you get overwhelmed. So I am in both camps, but when I was locked up in college, I graduated eventually, but I was locked up in a psych facility several times. I rebelled, and I think that helped me. I know it did. The empowerment, but it's very easy to get super angry, and how dare they do forced drugging or electroshock or solitary confinement so extreme, that one can end up hating the profession, the industry, and it's like maybe like Native Americans, a little indigenous, who I heard one leader in indigenous say, this is about forgiving the unforgivable. And so I'll just say one more thing, that in terms of the kind of unity, our need for unity and human rights. And one issue I have found over the years, everybody just about is against involuntary electroshock over the expressed wishes of the subject. Of course, right? But incredibly enough, forced shock still happens all over the world, including US.
Wow.
And not only that, I found 2 instances of court-ordered outpatient shock. like this guy Ray, a van would come to his group home every week for another fourth shock, all documented court orders, records. And we went through this whole thing about COVID and wherever you are about vaccinations. I mean, nobody was held down and forced vax. But I know people that I was forced drug. And to this day, there is forced shock. And that really silences so many people that fear. Now, a highlight of my career is that one of them is the World Health Organization Mental Health Division came out against all forced shock. All. In fact, they're for alternatives to a forced treatment. But anyway, so I don't know if Eric, are you back? Eric. Well, I don't want to talk too much. I have 40 years of stuff. What comes up for you, Mary, Brittany, Zephyr?
I'm hearing everything that you said, and I agree with all of it. And you know, some of the ways that the severely mentally ill are still treated even today in a supposedly civilized place like the United States is just appalling. I myself have experienced forced drugging, apparently 5 times in one night because whatever they were doing for me wasn't doing the trick. And that was a very traumatizing experience. And I'm of the opinion that trauma is the source of most severe mental illnesses. And so it's really cruel to take somebody who's already traumatized and do something that traumatizes them even more. And there are better ways. It's just they're more expensive. They take more staff. They take more money. They take more people that actually care about people like us. That's where my big frontier of trying to fight for our rights comes in. It's like just trying to get people to care about us.
Music to my ears.
I guess I was really struck by the fact that when my wife was in the hospital, that the doctor stopped believing anything she said, and she was no longer a reliable witness to him. And she could say something and he would ignore it. And I would say the same thing. And the doctor would be like, oh, okay, and write it down. It was because it came from me, it was reliable. I was the not sick person, and my wife was sick and couldn't be trusted. And I feel like that sense of not trust, of not having trust for people that have mental issues is kind of a dangerous social cancer. And it causes a lot of frustration, and it's genuinely unpleasant. And I think if there's anything that we can do to try to help make the range of mental health and mental illness to seem more like the same kind of spectrum that we're looking at for gender or for neurodiversity, there's just things that we can look at and say, we're here on this range, and come meet us where we're at. Don't try to put people into a box and then be mad when they don't fit.
Well, but how about you, Mary? What comes up?
For me, forced anything doesn't work. But I have learned since I got out of the hospital and started researching the mental health system to be tolerant of even shock treatments and things that I personally don't agree with, treatments that I don't agree with, as long as they help one person. I think it's worthwhile to consider that, as long as it's not forced. And I left the traditional mental health system and I call it the traditional one. I don't know if that's the correct terminology or not, the conventional one in the US. In 2017, when I went to my psychiatrist for one of my 10-minute, I call it speed appointments, because it would be like walk in, and if you're 1 minute late, he would yell at me, say, I only got 10 minutes for you, And so I was having a really good time in my life. I had just gotten a great job offer to save my retirement benefits. I had just finished writing my third book, and it was going to get published. And I had all this great news I was trying to spew at him. And he looked at me and he said, he interrupted what I was saying. And he said, I think at our next appointment, we're going to up your medication because you seem a bit too happy. And I quote, and so then he got up, walked me to the door, and I got in my car saying, I am never going back to that system again. I worked that way I've worked to get to that happiness level my whole life. And the US mental health system is telling me that this is not right and they want to medicate me. So I personally never went back. So during COVID, when COVID hit, I happened to be bored. I happened to be a person with a lot of energy. I guess some people would call that manic, but I don't. I just have a lot of energy. So I went back to school and right now I'm going to school for my master's degree in integrative health and healing. And I'm focusing on mental health. And my objective is to open up my house. I'm empty nesting now, and it's just me living in my house in Western New York. And I'm in the middle of my internship, and I'm working for 2 mental health agencies. And the terminology they use, calling clients lifers. I've heard the term lifers. I've heard the term frequent flyers. And I can't believe the narrative that's out there. And I'm also a writer, so I pay attention to that stuff. But I'm going to open up my house for a wellness resource center to offer people the options that I did not even know existed. I mean, to really get myself well, I use nature and writing and connecting with people like this. And those 3 things worked well for me. And so that got me back to a place of aligned mental health. And so I personally believe, like Rainey said, that most mental health issues are caused by trauma. But I also believe that everybody has the answer as to what is going to work with them. Medication or not medication, but that people should be more involved in their treatment plans. And that's my goal, to introduce people to that idea and to bring hope back into the mental health world.
That's awesome.
Thank
That's
you.
commendable, very commendable.
Eric,
I'm impressed. I've had such bad luck with treatment. Yeah, I could tell you horror stories.
Uh,
I'll try
Eric,
not to.
Eric,
I suppose they mean well, right? But
while you're gone, we did intros and then we talked about issues. Maybe you'd like to do both introduction and what's on your mind like that. You mentioned you're from Seattle.
well, yeah. So just a little background, if you don't mind. I've been in treatment for depression since 1988, and it's very poorly managed, unfortunately, with every medication that they can throw at me and all these different combinations. So then they decided, well, it's not just depression, it's bipolar type 2, so latent. And then they decided, well, that's not good enough. So we'll call it type 2 bipolar. No, well, now we'll call it type 1 with psychotic features. And then they decided at the age of 57 that I was schizophrenic because 3 years ago, I started hearing voices and it scares the heck out of me. Medication really doesn't seem to be helping me that much. And I've tried, oh my gosh, all the antipsychotics, I've tried all of them and they just don't have the answers for me. And they also don't listen to me. And I feel like I'm being devalued, or that they think that I'm just, I don't know. Nothing feels worse than not being believed. To not be believed is the worst feeling of all. And to know that you just don't have any recourse. Your friends don't believe you. Nobody believes. Just take these pills. Everything will be okay. Oh, if only that were true. And I'm unfortunately relegated to a community-based mental health system. And so I've been on the wait list for counseling, cognitive behavioral therapy, for over 3 years. And that's too long. Why, their staff, they don't have enough therapists. So it's frustrating. And I feel very marginalized and delineated at times. So that's my sob story. I'm still alive. I'm not 6 feet under. It could be worse, but it could be better. Why can't it be better? Why can't it be better? So that's it. That's my spiel.
So it sounds like access to help, real help, is a priority for yours.
Yeah. And the mental health agencies, they push a lot of meds, but they don't necessarily offer a lot of talk therapy counseling to augment that, right? They just write those scripts and say, come back in a month and feel better. Well, and yet I like them. They're good people. I don't want to be critical of them. It's not their fault. The system is underfunded, for one thing. And I had 2 different therapists for a short time and they both left the agency. So when they leave, I go back into the queue, the wait list, and have to come back up to the top again. So that's happened twice in 7 years. And it's just getting old, Nobody to talk to, nobody that believes, because I've had a couple of really weird things happen to me and I can't explain them. And they don't want to believe it. So here I am. Life goes on. I believe that.
Welcome. I'd like to mention a ray of hope. My last 40 years, I'd say I've mainly been a psych survivor, activist. I am proud that I have helped organize more protests by psych survivors that I know of than anywhere else in human history. There are other protests, but by people with what's called lived experience. Lived experience. So, yeah, I'm proud of that. So I'd like to say it's actually the more moderate wing of our movement, the mental health consumers that have hit the main home runs. The big home run in my book, there are now more than 30,000 certified peer support workers in the US. There are thousands more informal mental health peer support folks. That's people with experience who provide mutual support individually or like this in groups, mainly unpaid, but tens of thousands are paid part-time. Now I know there are a lot of problems with this, like the danger of co-optation and being used by the system. However, that's amazing. Scaling up, without societal support much. Like people know about LGBT, they know about BIPOC, but they really generally do not know about our movement. It's all over the world. I've spoken in 12 countries. It's global. The World Health Organization very involved. Look up quality rights, one word, WHO. That's the United Nations. They're saying the same thing we are here. I'd like to mention that I very much rebelled against psych drugs, but rightly so. But we need to build bridges. I say most mental health consumers take psych drugs often because of a lack of alternatives, but this becomes a point of division where some folks hate psych drugs, some folks take it, and the argument becomes about psych drugs. And really, it's about, as Mary pointed out, it's about human rights choice, having a range of choices. That said, at one point, psychosurgery was more common. It's still done, lobotomy, but it's tricky what's okay or not. One easy thing we can all do is most of us use the term mentally ill, but more and more leaders agree, if we can find other terms like people with lived experience or mental health issues or anything. The why, not that mentally ill is bad. I mean, if someone refers to themselves that way, great. But please, let's not give more power to the current bully. The current bully is the medical model.
Mhm.
That said, I know there were times where, say, the Jungian model in some places was the bully. So, like a medical model may save my friend's life after his head injury. Right. So, yeah, it's the bully, but it's not the main issue. The main issue is human rights and empowerment, choice, but also access to alternatives. If your only choice are drugs or dying, I mean, you quote, choose drug, but there are many, many other alternatives. And we only have a few minutes left. I want you all to have a chance. The last word. I will say, for me, climate crisis is the main issue. And UU is moving more and more to uniting the issues as being on the side of love. I mean, we have 8 principles, but, I've actually memorized them, but they're moving to simply saying on the side of love. And for me, our social change movement is part of that, helping teach what to do in extreme overwhelm, which more and more people will experience with the climate crisis, and freeing up our minds and spirits to go far beyond the box we're in, which can look crazy, but it's crucial, our movement. In fact, I would say all marginalized people, LGBT, BIPOC, disability, include us. I love a friend said marginalized and disempowered. MAD, madness, marginalized and disempowered. That for me is mad pride, which is celebrated all over the world now for decades. Mad pride. So anyway, let's go around and tell me your concluding thoughts, feelings, questions. How about we start with you, Mary? Would that be okay?
Yeah, it'll be okay. Nobody else wants to go first ever. I just want to say it's been a pleasure spending time with you all tonight. And the further along I go in this journey, the more people I meet and the more hopeful I get that there's a real reform happening And yes, I think it's grassroots and it has to happen from the bottom up. But I see the meadow or the field of grass getting bigger and bigger and bigger every day. And it's just a pleasure to be here. And I hope to be here again with you again next month or whenever we meet again. Thank you, David. Thank you, everybody.
You're welcome.
I also really enjoyed speaking with you all. It's nice to be with a group of accepting people that, you know, I don't have to hide the crazy like I do with everybody else. You know,
Yeah.
so that's nice. I look forward to our next meeting.
I think the stigma is the worst. You're already not feeling well. And then if you tell somebody, they withdraw.
Mhm.
They don't really want to interact because of those terms. And we've got to overcome that. And I want to say on a personal note, I lost somebody very close to me a few years back with ALS, and I was his caregiver. So quadriplegic, of course. Just wanted to say that on a personal note to you, David. I really have a lot of respect for you to go forward after a devastating injury. And I look forward to seeing you next month.
Next, great. Suffer.
Oh, I think this is fun. I want to try to get all the different groups that are doing the social justice and the environmental justice and the people justice, because that's what helps make things better. And the more we can come together, the more we can talk, the more we can spread this from one to the next. I think it's going to help. So like you're saying, David, if we can the more we tie this in with all the other groups that are seeking empowerment and seeking acceptance, then I think we're definitely on the right track. This is the way to spend the energy.
Well, you all have made this a wonderful, wonderful afternoon for me. And let me say that we started on Facebook, right? But we need to move beyond that and be what I call mind justice. That is, we build bridges to all mental disability labels, neurodiversity, head injury, ALS, Alzheimer's, you know, that we connect with the whole disability movement. And if I can LGBT marginalized, for me that's mind justice. Mary and I are on our LinkedIn group on mind justice, and UUS asked me to write a book, and it's about mind justice. So yeah, anyway, so help me move beyond Facebook.
Okay.
We will, David.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's
Chat.
chat about this on our group, because comments really help involve people. You know, comments back and forth. So yeah, we're looking for a little steering group. So think about that, okay? And I can thank you all, and let's pretend our jealous here is lit. And principle number 8 refers to other oppressions. It's against racism, but it mentions other oppressions, and we are the other. You know, so well, I think more and more we are the 100%. So I love you all. Thank you for joining us today. Okay, any other goodbyes?
Nice to talk to you.
Nice to see you, David.
Nice to see you all. Nice to meet you.
Take
Likewise.
care, everybody.
Sending
Take care.
love.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Very nice.
All right, honey.
You know what? Can you turn that camera for me when you put that there? Thanks.
Good evening,
You know what? It's like, there you go. Super.
honey. I forgot about your tea. I'll make
What?
it for you.
You know
Oh my
what?
goodness, you want that?
It's like an intro.
Uh-huh. Mine does this 101.